So the Indiana Pacers, they're in some trouble. They're having a little bit of a struggling season. Bubble God TJ Warren has yet to make his return. A lot of people excited for that, but a lot of people don't know how the Pacers will shape up. There's been some issues with the team chemistry as of late as well. You look at Myles Turner, you look at Sabonis. Turner, it feels like he should be more than a glorified role player, and he doesn't, fit very well next to Sabonis. And you also have players like former Rookie of the Year Malcolm Brogdon, who's kind of getting up there in age. He's been with Indiana for quite some time now, and he's not necessarily playing bad, but, as a whole team, they're not playing great. I feel like they could be a much better team. Malcolm Brogdon, they have another great player in Caris Levert, who they got last year. He just came back from his injury, and since being traded from Brooklyn, he's had a pretty good career, good season. He's averaging around 18 points this year. He's not doing awful. The other big question here with this team is, where does Sabonis and Turner fit in? Really, the biggest choice of this series is really Sabonis or Turner, and who we're going to get in return for them. I think by the end of episode 2 or 3, we're definitely looking to move Sabonis, but I don't know. It could be moving Turner. I am more of a fan of Turner, but Sabonis also a really good player as well. So either one of them, we could keep. The Pacers, though, they're at a little bit of a weird spot. They still haven't seen the return of TJ Warren. I'm pretty sure Jeremy Lamb hasn't even played this season yet. Lance Stevenson has played better than him, played more than him. He, is currently signed to the Pacers with the 10-day contracts due to the COVID rules. So that's another interesting player that we have on the squad, Myles Turner. Much better shooter and scorer than Sabonis. And we also have TJ McConnell coming off the bench. I just wanted to mention that. He's a great backup point guard. I think TJ McConnell is kind of a player that every team would want. He's crafty, he's shifty, he's a good defensive-minded guard, and he kind of does everything the team needs at low volume rates. Now, I'm looking at a couple players, to add to the squad. I think Jaylen Brown is one of those options. As a Celtics fan, I don't think the Celtics should move him, but a lot of the rumors around and a lot of people, uneducated people, but a lot of people think we should be splitting up the Jays, and I think if any one of them is going to be made available, it's Jaylen Brown, and I think a Sabonis for Jaylen Brown with a couple other pieces makes sense for both teams slightly. The Celtics have struggled with having a big man who can score, who can help them. They already have a defensive player like Rob Williams, so if they can get a man who can shoot, who can score, do a little bit of everything down there, I think that could help the Celtics as well. Another option is going over to the Warriors. James Wiseman not back from injury quite yet, but he could be soon. You also have Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, a bunch of young guys, but the Warriors look to be in a win now mode in both real life and honestly the game. Both of them. They're great players. I mean, Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman, all of them are on the radar. I think it's one of those trades that also makes sense. The Pacers, they give maybe Lamb, Sabonis, a couple picks for these young guys. Warriors get their kind of play now team, their final roster, and we get some young guys to improve around. Now, another one that's a little interesting that kind of came up to the top of my head just randomly was a trade with the Raptors. Delano Banton is very promising. I think him on the Pacers would be really nice. Maybe put him behind Brogdon until Brogdon leaves us. I'm also looking at Precious and Mr. Pascal Siakam. I think both of them could work here. Obviously, this would result in getting rid of maybe Sabonis, maybe Turner, maybe Brogdon even if we want to start Delano, if we really want to go into tank mode. But I think Banton has a lot of promise, and I think Pascal Siakam is, almost pretty much done with the Raptors. I don't see him being there much longer. We also have Talen Horton-Tucker of the Lakers. That's another option I'm looking at. Maybe give them a player like Jeremy Lamb, like a second-round pick, just to give the Lakers, more hopes towards their playoffs. I don't think Talen Horton-Tucker fits that agenda for them right now, and I also think he falls into the group of players who leave LeBron and become good, much like Kuzma, much like Brandon Ingram, much like Lonzo. I think Talen Horton-Tucker could be another good piece. I'm also looking at another former Laker and Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart could be cool. Along with him, I'm thinking Alexander Walker on the Pelicans. They could be, not necessarily game-changing or team-changing pieces, but young dudes, promising dudes. The Pelicans, they get more around Zion. We could trade them some better players. Obviously, I'm not going to give them Sabonis, but Jackson Hayes is another player on the Pelicans that I'm looking forward. So, if they throw us a pick, I could throw them, Sabonis, and they give me, these three players I just mentioned and a pick. I don't know. There's a lot of moves, a lot of things that I'm thinking of for the Pacers, and, they're in quite a tough spot. And I'm excited to see where this series goes. Excited to see who we can pick up, who we can trade for, who we can save, see what we can do for the Pacers. And honestly, I just want to give us a chip back in Indiana. Do it for Larry Bird and do it for Indiana.